Alright, today we're just going to be installing a new bed liner on a 1992 Toyota pickup. As you can see, this whole bed's kind of scratched up, and I've been wanting to do a bed liner for a long time. Had it for about 3 years, but now since we got the Percoliner self-apply, we can go ahead and get this going. I just cleaned it. There was some tar on it. I got all that removed. So now next I'm just gonna have to start sanding the whole thing and see where it goes from there. Alright, so I finished all the sanding. Now all that's left is masking. You honestly can't really tell the difference because this whole bed was just kind of worn out anyways, which is even more reason why I want to do it. I did have a small dent over there. I tried to see if I could pop it up from underneath, but that ended up taking a lot longer than anticipated, so I decided just to kind of move on. I could always revisit that dent later, but yeah, next I'm just going to go ahead and mask it, and then we could move on to actually painting it. Alright, so we're all masked up. I only got the edges going. I just got some cardboard in the back, just to save some time in masking, and really just a big challenge just trying to get this whole gap area all wrapped up. But I think we're good to go. I think we're set. Now next up, trying to get some paint, stir that together, and rock and roll. Okay, so just got on the first coat. It really wasn't that bad. It was just the first coat, so it's gonna be a little light. I think the later half just started getting a little easier to apply. There are some spots. I'll go ahead and fill that in for a second. I think this portion would just kind of more challenging just because it's sideways, but because it's already like a coat on it, it should stick a little better. The ROMs end up sticking on pretty well. Of course there is a few spots, but that's what some touch-up is. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing probably about an hour to dry. There's a little bit too much there, so I'm trying to smear that around. But yeah, so far it's going like really good. All right, so finally putting the second coat. There's still some missed spots, which I'm about to go over with mostly touch up. Really just this right side that's kind of like left over. The left side looks pretty darn good. It got dark. I'm trying to get done quickly just because it's a little chilly out and this stuff is taking forever to dry. But unfortunately it couldn't dry in a reasonable time. So it was a little challenging. I couldn't really step on the tailgate or on the bed. I did a little bit, but then some of it got on my shoes and started undoing a little bit. So I kind of had to like just reach over like that. But fortunately, it's a tiny truck, so it didn't make it that hard. If this was like modern day F-150, this would have sucked. Yeah, but had it been warmer, definitely would have dried up a little easier. And I probably should have done this as a 2-day, 1 day of sanding and then the next day of painting, because I tried to do it all in 1 day. Now I'm kind of in a bind, so I sort of have to finish this out. Otherwise it won't cure right. So the execution could have been a little better, but the end result's coming out really, really good. I'm liking it so far. All right. So I completed the second coat and did all the touch up on the right side. I would say about like 95% of this is basically done, though I got a feeling that there's still gonna be some missed spots. It's harder to see with the lack of light, so probably what I might do is in a bit, I'm gonna let this dry for an hour. I'm gonna go eat while in the meantime, and I'm gonna temporarily take those bikes out, park just the bed inside, so I have a little bit more lighting and kind of see exactly where it is I'm getting, and I'm gonna go give it a third coat. The instructions on this thing don't say you need a third coat, but just given the circumstances that it's kind of been a little slow to dry, I've been having a little bit of lift, and it feels a little thin in my opinion, just 2 coats. I'm just gonna give it a third. And on top of that, I still have like plenty of paint here. Yeah, that's still a decent amount, so I think that could just get me one more good solid coat, and then this project would basically be done, and I just gotta let it sit overnight. My parking inside, it was kind of dusty. I don't know, it's kind of dusty everywhere, but this is kind of the update. It's looking good so far. I'm really just being nitpicky. I want to get it as perfect as possible, but it's looking pretty good. All right, so the time is now 12:38. Finished up with everything on the truck. Looks really good. Did like a really long coat and everything like that. So now what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just unscrew these and screw them back in, just to kind of break the seal so it's still, or these screws, so it's still serviceable. It's not forever sealed. And then after that, just gonna push the truck out, just let it sit overnight. I really don't want it to stink up the whole house, right? It should be fine. It's no rain. I'm gonna check again in the morning just to see if there's any touch-up paint. I still had a decent amount of paint left, so I'm just gonna save that for touch-up. It's definitely kind of hard to see if I missed spots because of the light, but I think I basically got it on point. And if I miss anything, I'll fix it in the morning. But this came out looking really good. Almost looks like a new truck now. Looks legit. All right, so here's the final product. I let it sit overnight. I basically finished around 12:31 and it is now 8:20. It's still a little tacky, so it really is not a big deal because I don't plan on using this truck for a minute. I mean, it's probably safe to like drive around, but I'm just letting it sit a little more. I know by tomorrow it's going to be done because it said 24 hours should be enough. And right now it's really cold out here, so it's probably going to take, I don't know, maybe a few days. Well, when I say cold, it's cold it's cold to the paint. I think right now it's only like maybe 40, 50, but paint doesn't like cold weather. But no, this is really good. Definitely worth the money. This morning just came out, did a little bit of touch up. I saw some spots that were still like a little bit red, so I kind of just touched that up. I see leaves pile up a little bit, so I'm just gonna try and walk throughout the day and keep the leaves out, or maybe just take it out front. But no, this was great. It was a good project.